Oh, hello again.
Hello,
I'm Rebecca,
I'm Bernette.
and we are here to do some channeling for you. And we're going to see who is here. If you're not familiar with the type of channeling that we do, please review our first video. Okay. All right, let's see who's coming in. So, who's here?
Adam.
Okay.
Adam says, I was born in 1776.
Where were you born, Adam?
New Hampshire.
So, were you born a free man then?
I was.
Did you remain a free man?
I did.
So tell us a little bit about your life. What kind of life did you have?
For the time, it was good. It was good for the times. I was free. I wasn't bothered. I wasn't equal, but I wasn't mistreated. And for that time, that was a lot. It was a lot. I was able to be educated privately. My mother worked for a family, and the father of that family, the male, and the wife of that family treated me very well. They made sure that I had a good, solid education, even if I couldn't go to the schools. And I was taught alongside their children as a young child. My mother kept house for them. I learned to do shoes. I cobbled. I made shoes. I repaired shoes, just as my father. It was a good life for me at that time.
Were your parents born free as well?
They were not. They were not.
How did they get their freedom?
Mama was light. Oh. And when they found that they were pregnant, that they were going to have me, they left. They were in Southern Virginia. And they left. And they traveled north. They went this way, right up along. And Mama, she was very fair.
Is that how they escaped?
That's how they escaped.
Did she pretend to be?
She had to pretend to be white. And she had to pretend as if my father was her slave. And she wasn't, she looked almost white. So she covered some of her features sometimes to camouflage herself. And she got help along the way from kind people who knew what they were trying to do. And once they made it up north, she had me, and then she had two more with my father.
Were there other slaves or runaway slaves in New Hampshire at that time?
Yes, yes. They came at different times. It is very difficult. You can't travel in large groups without being found. And so they did in small pairs of 2s and 3s and 4s or small families.
So was New Hampshire a safe haven?
Where I lived, I can't speak for the rest of it, but we had people there who did not like what was going on, and they protected us, and they made us feel at least safe.
How old were you when you died?
72.
Was that old for your time?
Yes, I lived a long and a good life. I married and I had 4 children.
Do your children still live in the state of New Hampshire, or your descendants, are they still in New Hampshire?
They're in the area. They're spread out in those areas. In what is called New England, they're spread out.
If you could...
But they do well.
Are they well educated?
They are, and they have done well. And I'm very proud of them.
Do you have any regrets from that lifetime?
Only that I could not retire my mother from her service as help. I could not afford to do that until she was old, and by that time it wasn't really retirement.
What about your father?
He died when I was young, after my brothers were born. I suppose he was in his mid-40s, perhaps 50.
Was it a struggle for your family after your father died?
Sometimes, but we all worked. My father taught me his trade. My brothers worked. We all worked. And we were all afforded an opportunity to be educated, and we took advantage of it, and we worked. So while we were not rich, we were not poor. And while we could not retire our mother, she was not without. She did not ever want. We supported each other.
What would you say was your life purpose?
To bring those children into the world. There. To bring my 3 children in so that they could bear children who were free, who knew what it was like to be free, who had never had shackles or chains. That was my purpose. And to be born of a woman and a man who had the courage to become free, to risk it. And my children knew how to do that too. They learned from their grandparents. They heard their story. Oh, and they have done well.
What is one thing that you would want African Americans today to know and learn from you?
If I could tell them one thing, do not frown on your education. Do not separate yourself from your family as if you don't need each other. And do not be afraid or ashamed of needing each other, of supporting each other, of being each other's backbones, because in that you are stronger. In that you become stronger. And as a community you are stronger. Where we were not many, but we supported each other. We were a community. We were united in our effort to be better, to be stronger, to have better for ourselves and our children than our parents had. If I tell them one thing, it's that. Come together. Don't fight against each other. Why? What is this? Senseless. It's senseless.
It is. It is. Did you have another lifetime that influenced the life that you are speaking of now?
I've had many lifetimes, and every lifetime is a culmination. Every lifetime influences the next. There was not a specific lifetime that influenced this lifetime. This lifetime had the purpose of me coming in as a free person to create free people, to bring forth free people.
And yet we are still, in our minds, we are not free.
Some of us are. Some of us are not.
How can we free those who are still mentally chained as slaves?
When my mother and my father escaped, first they had to make the choice to escape. But before that, my apologies. First, they had to realize that they were not free, that they were in slavery and in bondage, and that that was not the only way. And then, after realizing that, they could make the choice to be free. And once they made the choice, they acted on it, and they left that which held them in bondage. And that is what our people must do. They must recognize the bondage of the mind, the slavery of the mind. They must make a choice to free the mind of that slavery. And then they must take action to set themselves free.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us and sharing.
Thank you. It is my pleasure. Thank you for creating this.
And if you would have some parting words before you go, and anything else that might be helpful, because it has been very helpful to hear your voice, to hear your story and your side of freedom.
Learn. Do not be afraid of knowledge. We have come to a place where we are afraid of learning. We are afraid of intelligence, of knowing. That is how you keep a man down, by making him ignorant and fearful of knowledge. We must take back the curiosity, the search for greater and higher things and of knowledge. Where would I have been had I not been educated? Where would I have been if I had not had the opportunity to learn something? Nowhere. I would have been a free man in the North, but still a slave. We must learn. We must teach. We must teach our children to want to learn. We must teach our children that knowledge is power. We must teach our children that being ignorant is not the answer. It is not an acceptable way to change our history, to be a strong and powerful people. We cannot allow that to continue, or else we will die as slaves, just as my fathers and forefathers did. It must end. Learn something. It is not shameful to be knowledgeable. It is not shameful to be the head of the class. In fact, it is what you should aspire to be greater than, be better than.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It is my pleasure.
And with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.